Hello students, welcome to TSAT classes. Welcome to the series on TSPSC Group 1 Mains. As part of this series, we have started the governance and public policy topic. As part of this governance and public policy, in the last class, we have seen the legal provisions related to directive principles of state policy. We have also seen what is the definition of authority as given by Max Weber. We have seen what is neutrality, value neutrality and political neutrality as given by Max Weber, bureaucratic theory of organization. Today, let us continue this series of governance and public policy and see further questions. So, let us see the first question. The first question is, discuss the hierarchy of the Indian administrative governance with the help of the constitutional provisions. Discuss the hierarchy of Indian administrative governance. So, we need to decode two things, the Indian legislature and executive. The political executive and the general executive. The permanent this is the permanent, this is a temporary. The temporary executive, it is also called the temporary executive and permanent executive. Let us decode this. Okay. Now, what is a hierarchy? What is a hierarchy? Right. Legislature in India. Legislature in India. First, let us see the legislature in India. See, the legislature, the role of the legislature in India is to make laws. The role of the legislature in India is to make laws, right? Now, in India, as part of the original constitution, the legislature was divided into two-tier hierarchical systems. But presently, the legislature in India can be divided into three-tier hierarchical systems. Two-tier in the original constitution, three-tier in the present constitution, meaning it was added by amendment. We will see that. So, the legislature presently in India is divided into three-tier hierarchical systems. The first one is called the central legislature. The second one is called your state legislature. And we have local governance. Local governance. The local governance was added by the Amendment Act afterwards, not part of the original constitution. The local governance is divided into two-tier hierarchies. That is your Panchayati Raj institutions, your Panchayati Raj institutions and municipalities. This is your rural local self-governance. This is your urban local self-governance. Rural and urban. Okay. Now, let us start. Decode this. So, this Panchayati Raj institutions was added by 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1992. The municipalities was added by 74th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1992. So, we have three-tier hierarchies and now, but in the original constitution we had two-tier hierarchies. Okay. The head of the central legislature is your parliament. Parliament is the head of the central legislature. The head of the state legislature is state legislature only. You have state legislature only. Now coming to parliament. Article 79 defines parliament. Article 79 defines parliament. According to Article 79, parliament includes President of India, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. President of India, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Because we have two houses, parliament is always bicameral legislature. Parliament is always bicameral, two houses. If it is one house, that is unicameral. The term Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha is nowhere mentioned in the constitution. Lok Sabha is called House of People. Rajya Sabha is called Council of States. Both the members of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha are called, MPs. Let me also add one more point so that it will be more clear, because the question also talks about constitutional provision, right? Article 81 talks about the composition of Lok Sabha. Article 80 talks about the composition of Rajya, and the members of both are called Article 52 of the constitution says there shall be the president for India. There shall be a president for Article 52 of the constitution says there shall be a president for India. Remember this. Okay. So the thing is, we have the parliament defined under Article 79, which is always bicameral. According to Article 79, parliament includes your president, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. President is discussed in Article 52. Lok Sabha 81 composition, Rajya Sabha 80 composition. Lok Sabha is called the lower house or House of People. Rajya Sabha is called the upper house or Council of States. Now coming to state legislature. Article 168 of the constitution defines a state legislature, according to which it says that state legislature includes governor, state legislative assembly, state legislative council. Governor, assembly and council. Right. Article 153 of the constitution talks about the governor. According to Article 153, there shall be a governor for each state, or the same governor can be appointed for more than one state. It is added by 7th Constitutional Amendment Act. That's a difference. Now, unlike a parliament, state legislature can be bicameral or unicameral. It can be bicameral or unicameral. It can be anything, no problem. It can be one house or two houses. One house or two houses. Important. The members of the assembly are called MLAs. The members of the council are called MLs. Article 170 talks about the composition of the assembly. Article 171 talks about the composition, but it can be unicameral or bicameral, right? So as on today in India, there are 6 states which are bicameral. There are 6 states which are bicameral. What are they, sir? They are Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, we have Karnataka, Maharashtra, one second. We have Maharashtra, UP and Bihar. Maharashtra, UP and Bihar. These are the 6 states which are bicameral legislature. We have both assembly and council. What about other states? Only assembly is there. Only assembly. Only one house. That is the meaning. So this is a composition of parliament and state legislature with the help of the constitution. Now one more thing. Schedule 7 deals with the division of powers between central legislature and state legislature. Schedule 7 divides the subjects into 3 lists: union list, state list and concurrent. Union list, state list and concurrent list. According to Schedule 7, if there is any subject in union list, Parliament has the authority to make the laws. If there is any subject in the state list, the state legislature can make the laws. If there is any subject in concurrent list, Parliament or state legislature can make the laws. That is the meaning here. So we have central legislature and state legislature. We have Schedule 7, division of powers. Let's come back to the local governance. Local governance was later on added. This is not part of the original constitution. It was later added. by your 73rd Amendment Act and 74th Amendment Act. Panchayati Raj institutions. The Panchayati Raj institutions is discussed from Article 243 to 243. Similarly, municipalities are discussed from Article 243P to 243 ZG, ZG, ZA, ZB, ZC, like that ZG. Okay. Part 9 of the Constitution. This is your Part 9A of the Constitution. The panchayatis are further divided into 3-tier system. The first one is village level panchayati or village panchayati, right? You have municipal council and you have municipal corporation So the Panchayati Raj institutions can be divided into 3 types: village panchayati, municipal council and municipal corporation. The municipalities can be divided into 3 types. The first one is your Nagara Panchayati, the village panchayati, then we have Mandal Panchayati, and we have Jilla, district level panchayati. Now here we have Nagara Panchayati, municipal council and municipal corporation. I am repeating this. The Panchayati Raj institutions can be divided into 3-tier system: village panchayati, mandal level panchayati, district level panchayati. Mandal level panchayati is called intermediate level panchayati according to the act. Then we have municipalities which are divided into 3 types: Nagara Panchayati, municipal council and municipal. Now what are the functions of these panchayatis and municipalities? The functions of the panchayatis are discussed in your Schedule 11, and the functions of the municipalities are discussed in your Schedule 11 and Schedule 12. Deals with the functions of the panchayatis and municipalities. So this is the entire structure of the legislature in India with the constitutional provisions. All constitutional provisions are. Next we will see the legislative or provisions for executive. The executive. Now what is the role of the executive? Implementation. Right? Implement the law made by the legislature. The executives are divided into 2 types. We have seen this before. Let me start with the general executive. The general executive, which is also called permanent executive. Then we have political executive, which you have temporary executive. Now what is this general executive? General executive contains bureaucracy, bureaucrats. Now these general executive people are permanent executive, which contains the bureaucrats like the union civil servants and state civil servants. You have cabinet secretary, you have principal secretary, IAS, your IPS, your IFS, your group A service, B service, C and D service. Coming to the state, you have chief secretary, you have principal secretary, you have group 1, right, group 2, group 3, group 4 service. All this is your union and state, and these people are permanent. See, we discussed in our last class saying bureaucracy call these people as instruments. Then we have something called political executive. See, what is this political executive? Political executive is again divided into 2. The union political executive, state level political executive. The union political executive consists of President of India plus Union Council of Ministers. Similarly, the state political executive consists of Governor plus State Council of Ministers. Who are this Union Council of Ministers? PM, Finance Minister, Home Minister, External Affairs Minister, etc. Similarly, State Council of Ministers, we have CM, Home Minister, Education Minister, Finance Minister, Irrigation Minister, right? Irrigation Minister, etc. All these are your State Council of Ministers. In India, both general executive and you have political executive work together. They work together. This is called fusion theory. This is called fusion theory. All the members of the political executive are from legislature. Why? In India we have fusion theory and all the members are from legislature because India follows something called parliamentary democracy. Remember this. So what are the constitutional provisions linked to this? Okay. Article 52, 85, 86, 87, 74, 75, 176, 163. All these are the constitutional provisions linked to whatever we have discussed now. Yeah, 308, 311, all these the constitutional provisions are linked to the executive part which you have discussed till now. So this is the answer you need to write for this particular question of discuss the hierarchy of Indian administrative governance with the help of the constitution. Let us see one more question. Let us see one more. Why do India has a diluted separation of powers theory? Why do India has a diluted separation? Firstly, we have to discuss what is this separation of. So every country in the world is compared to something called nation, and the nation consists of 4 components: people, you have society where people are part of, you have your state, that is your government, and governance. So every government govern the society where people are part of. In India, people elect the government, where government govern the society where people are part of. This is called democracy. Ruled by the people is called democracy. But the problem is we are almost 140 crore people, 140 crore country. How can a single state govern 140 crore people? The administration is will not be effective. To make the administration simple, effective, efficient, to make the administration simple, effective, efficient, separation of power theory was been adopted in it. The separation of powers theory, it is also called SOP, is given or developed by Montesquieu in his book The Spirit of Laws. He has developed this separation of powers theory in book called Spirit of Laws. So Montesquieu is a French philosopher, political thinker, who has developed this separation of powers theory in his book called Spirit of Laws. See, there are 3 principles of separation of powers theory. The first one is, according to separation of powers theory, for an effective simple administration, the state should be divided into different branches. The state shall be divided into different branches. 2. Each branch has a unique function to perform. Each branch has a separate function, unique function to perform. 3. No branch will interfere in the works of the other branches. No branch will interfere in the works of the other branches. So in India, this separation of powers theory is taken. So what are these 3 principles? The first principle is the state is divided into 3 branches. The first one is called legislature, executive, judiciary. So every branch has a unique function to perform. Legislature to make laws, executive to implement the laws, and judiciary to review the law. Right? The first principle is the state is divided into different branches, 3 branches mainly. We have your legislature, executive, and judiciary. The point is, the reason why we have adopted this separation of powers theory is because to make administration and governance effective, simple, efficient, convenient, right, coordinative, etc. So according to separation of powers theory, the state is divided into 3 branches: legislature, executive, judiciary. And the second principle is each branch has a unique function to perform. Legislature to make laws, executive to implement it, and judiciary to review it. The third one, no branch will interfere in the works of the other branches. This is not followed. When the third principle is also followed, that is called absolute separation of powers. But in India, we have a diluted separation of powers. Whenever I say that we have a diluted separation of powers theory, it means that the separation of powers theory is not followed to the full extent. Why do India has a diluted separation of powers theory? Why do India has a diluted separation of powers theory? Because India follows a doctrine called doctrine of checks and balances. India follows this doctrine called checks and balances so that India do not have a diluted separation of powers theory. India has a diluted separation of powers theory. What is this checks and balances? As part of this checks and balances, in India, every branch will check the authority of other branches and balance it. It ensures that no branch of the state is illegitimate. It takes decisions in arbitrariness. It ensures that every branch will check the other branches. How? What are the examples? How every branch will check the other branches? We have your legislature here, you have your executive here, you have your judiciary. So every branch will check the other branches' role and functioning. Every branch has the authority to check the other branch's authority. So the executive will check the legislature will check the executive. Similarly, the executive also check the judiciary. Similarly, the judiciary check the executive, the judiciary check the legislature, and legislature check the judiciary. Oh, let us take the examples. How the executive check the legislature, how judiciary check the legislature, how judiciary check the executive. Let us start with the judiciary. Just a minute like this. Now let us start with the judicial part. How judiciary check the legislature? Right, by review of the law, by review of the laws made by the legislature. Similarly, judiciary check the executive by review of policy. How executive check the judiciary? Who is part of the executive? President is part of the executive. So president appoint the judges. Appointment of. Similarly, legislature check the judiciary in removal of the judges. Removal of judges. Now executive check the legislature. Executive checking the legislature. President of India is a person who summon, that is your start, who prorogation, stop the parliament. You also has the authority to send messages, motion of thanks to the legislature. In that way, the executive check the legislature. So then how legislature check the executive? Question hour, you have something called question hour. 0 hour, budget. So in that way, every branch of the house check, every branch of the state check the authority of other branches and ensure that they don't misuse their power and authority. This is called checks and balances. This is called checks and balances. So what are the constitutional provisions, articles related to this checks and balances? I will give the list. Try to understand. Article 75, Article 85, Article 86, Article 87, Article 176, right? Article 175, right? Article 165, sorry, 164. 165 is Attorney General. 164, Article 124, Clause 4, Article 124, Clause 5, Article 124, Clause 1, Article 124, Clause 2, removal appointment of the judges. Article 13, judiciary has a review. Article 32, Article 226, all these are the constitutional provisions linked to your checks and balances theory within the constitution. So the thing is, in India, we have separation of powers theory, but not in absolute terms. In India, the separation of powers theory is there in diluted. Why? India follows the doctrine of checks and balances. And this is the example which I have shown in your, you can see in the screen, you can take a screenshot. These are the examples for why there is a checks and balances in India. So this is your today's governance and public policy. I'll see you guys again in the next class. Till then, happy learning. Jai Hind.